So today the news came out about the MPCC talking about Istana and a couple of other teams. What's the latest statement or reaction from the UCI on Istana's licence situation?
Well, the issue has been referred to the Licence Commission. They'll make a detailed assessment and appraisal. They're holding a hearing in early November. The team have been notified of that. They'll look at all of the information and evidence, and the team will be able to put their case as to what they're doing about these issues, this problem, and so on. So now I want to let the Licence Commission do their work. It's not for me to interfere in that. They are entirely independent, and they will make recommendations back to us, which will cover the issue of the licence of Istana.
Are you aware of what possible routes they might take in terms of, is it an option for them to suspend the licence from the team?
Absolutely, yes, that is an option, yeah. They can make a series of recommendations that would be lesser than that, where they could downgrade the team. There are a whole range of options for them.
What's your personal opinion as president of the UCI?
Well, I think my opinion is that I want the Licence Commission to do its work and to make a proper independent judgment, and I don't want to interfere in that. Well, we have looked at some of the MPCC rules, and we've been talking to WADA about whether we can strengthen our approach, particularly in respect of the impact of cumulative individual cases on the role of a team. That's a little bit difficult under the WADA rules, which are not really focused on teams, except in perhaps in a relay or that kind of event. And so this is something that we need to look at. We want to work closely with MPCC. We think they do a lot of things that are good for the sport, but at the end of the day we need to make sure that it's UCI's rules that govern the sport, and the MPCC rules are recommendations for members of a voluntary association.
The situation is whereby Istana could, or any team could suspend itself, whereas the UCI can fine that team, if they don't turn up for the race.
Well, that's absolutely right, and the Tour of Beijing, Istana chose not to participate. That puts them in contravention of the UCI rules for the World Tour, and that matter has been referred to the Disciplinary Commission, so they may well end up with a sanction as a result of that. And I don't think that that's contrary to the spirit of MPCC. I think that, in fact, reinforces the situation, because not only have they not been able to take part in a race, but they may well also get a sanction from the governing body, the UCI, because of that as well.
From the UCI's point of view, is the MPCC good for cycling, or is it a nuisance?
No, it's not a nuisance at all. I think it is good for cycling, but it's a voluntary organisation, and its rules are not mandatory on all teams, and it does cause a little confusion in the mind of the public and the media sometimes, but by and large I think it's a good organisation that's done good work, and it's excellent that they are taking this matter seriously.
They do advocate things like a ban on tramadol, for example, and another few substances. Have the UCI been aware of that? Have they been in contact with WADA over the similar aspects, and are they also pushing for bans for drugs like that?
Yeah, absolutely. But tramadol was referred to the WADA a couple of years ago. It's been on the WADA watch list, as I understand it, for a while. They're making assessments and evaluations of it. At the moment, they haven't decided to include it on the proscribed list. Now, given that WADA are the world body for anti-doping, and we are an affiliate and agree to the WADA code, then I think we have to abide by the WADA code. As I said, in the situation with Istana and the non-participation in the Tour of Beijing, if MPCC rules, which are voluntary, if they put a team in contradiction and contravention of UCI rules, then that's an additional sanction as well. But we have to stick to the WADA code, I believe, and for all of the reasons that I've said many times before, that if we step outside the WADA code and anything to do with doping, that will be the time when we will be challenged by lawyers, and we would probably lose. So I think we as a governing body signed up to the WADA code need to use the strength of the WADA code and the strength of our relationship with WADA to reinforce our stance on doping at all points. So I take our guidelines come from WADA.
I guess it's all about credibility, but everyone seems to have a different identity or definition of what credibility is. So, for example, you have the MPCC and they will have a rule on cortisol levels and TUEs, whereas you have other teams that have different rules and they adhere to the WADA code. Surely that must be frustrating.
Well, it is a little bit confusing, I think, I would say, for the media and for the fans sometimes. I don't think it's particularly frustrating. I think it's, I'd certainly rather see consistency for all teams, but the WADA code is the WADA code, and that's what we must abide by. And if one team, 10 teams, all teams want to have higher standards than that or different standards than that, then that's a matter for them.